What's good with y'all? It's Legendary Grimlock here, your favorite Dynabot, and today we're really going to talk about could the Incredible Verse survive the likes of Monster X. Now you might say, Legendary, why are you saying this here? Well, let's really talk about this real quick though. And the Incredible Verse has a very, what's the word? A distinct lack of villains in my opinion. Okay? Syndrome was honestly hot garbage. Like let's be real. Let's be real. He was trash. Syndrome was, trash. And Screenslaver honestly doesn't really live up to hype of being a villain. In all honesty, she's more like a superhero hater. If anything, like it's not even up for debate on whether or not she's just a superhero hater. Now, while we all came for Elastigirl's thickness, like let's be real, we went to that movie because they were showing that badonker during that entire thing. But the Incredibles and the Incredibleverse in general, I don't think could survive a lot of these villains. For starters, they're naive and they don't have competition with other villains. And this is why I'm throwing in Monster X to actually prove a point here. Now you might say, well, they fought mind-controlled heroes, but you guys got to understand there are levels to this. The max that verse has actually gotten to is around city level. And that's not bad. I'm not complaining about it. I'm not bashing it. But really, city level is the best you could do. Like, in all honesty, is that really the best you could do? Compared to Monster X, who's at low end planet busting, who's basically an evolved form or an evolved avatar of Ghidorah. Yes, I mean avatar because that's an. Oh, excuse me. That's a video for another day. I'll probably get to it. But this dude has every ability in the book and is 10 times ruthless with them. But let's really act like we pretty much dropped him in there, throwing him in human-sized, and how would he be in the verse in general? Plus, we'll be giving the Exilian Empire also their debut in this as well. So you guys, I think, know how this is going to end. So honestly, I think Monster X is definitely going to be an anti-villain or an anti-hero. The one that will not hesitate to rip you in half if you get out of line. Yeah, that one. Yep. Yep. Oh yeah. You see the bodies? Oh yes, everywhere, getting ripped in half, splattered. Okay. Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, someone that's gonna actually blast gravity beams through your skull, and then torture you to get that information if you're still alive. Yeah. So yeah, we're talking about that kind of caliber of villain here. Now you might say, oh, well, Legendary, how would he interact in the verse in general? Well, for starters, if he starts doing that, that means they're going to basically be encouraging Elastigirl, because she was actually the face of the hero community, is the one that actually started it and got it going, to basically convince to maybe talk to him, maybe join the team of B-listers because they need a heavy hitter. And in all honesty, I kind of see her catching Monster X in the middle of ruthlessly killing someone or ruthlessly torturing someone. Let's get to the torture part of it, right? I think Elastigirl would be shocked and horrified that there are actual heroes like this. And why wouldn't she be? Why wouldn't she be horrified that there are heroes that actually live their lives and pretty much do their own thing like this? I just think that it's no different than anything else here. So what's the actual point? I just think that it'll definitely be a lot scarier for her, but I definitely think that they could probably find some common ground, if you know what I mean here. So I just think that if she does decide to, what's the word I'm looking for? If she does decide that, they do need to sit down, maybe have a talk and have a conversation, I think she will try and attempt to do that. But unfortunately, I do not see that going very well, if you know what I mean. It's just the sheer fact that Monster X is not going to be someone that actually, plays with what he does or plays around with, I guess you could say, anything that he does in general. I mean, it's just not in his nature to do that. So in all honesty, I really just don't see that happening. I see him going for killing other heroes. Mainly, I do think he'll probably absorb the living daylights out of Electrus. I do think that is going to happen. Simply because that Electrus is an electrical based opponent and he's going to see him as a battery source. Then this is going to translate into him going after the other B-list heroes, and then he's probably going to lure them into an area where he can cause, basically just take them out and definitely just dismember them. Now you might say, "Oh, won't he take it slow?" You did say he was a sadistic person. Yes, yes, yes. He is. He would take it slow, and he would make it painfully slow, okay? The sheer fact that this guy is going to enjoy the pain he's causing to other heroes is definitely something to make noteworthy about. It's not going to be an easy thing for them. But if I had to pick one person to escape, the most likely person to escape is Void with her portals, definitely teleporting to the Incredibles and warning them of what's to come. This is when I think Monster X would see that, yeah, it's time for this invasion to commence, and then bada bing, bada boom, the invasion happens. Yay! And we all know how that's about to go, right? This is about to be an absolute storm, and I do think that while this invasion is progressing, the last and remaining members of the hero community are gonna try and band together in order to stand up to Monster X here, and I just don't think it's going to be any form of a fight here, especially if he decides to stop playing around and goes all out. That means that you have to deal with not only an entire army with their kaijus, but a Monster X that's not going to be holding back against them. And I think that due to the sacrifices of their father and mother, Violet, Dash, and Jack are going to start a resistance. Now, due to this verse actually having like a random uprising of heroes every now and then, I do think they'll probably get some other heroes to join them, maybe some other heroes from across the world, because again, we do have to remember that there were heroes across the world and across the planet, and I do think they would be able to gain those heroes and definitely have them follow, or they will be taken out by kaiju, or pretty much trying to save as many civilizations and many people as they can, hoping that one day they could get a foothold and maybe a ground, any type of footing in this in this war. And honestly, I think it would be a futile resistance, and it'd be to the point where some of humanity actually gives up on the heroes and sides with the Exilians, pretty much living under their empire, because you got to remember they weren't really there to like kill all the humans. They were kind of using them as like cattle, kind of like food, if you will. So I definitely see this happening to the Exilians, and I definitely think that it's going to be at some point they're going to find out that maybe one of their parents survived the incident or whatever. But I do think at the end of it all, they're going to be fighting a losing battle until they get someone on their side that's actually going to help them. And this is when they probably propose that since the others are being mind controlled, they probably think Monster X was being mind controlled. Now, this is a possibility, because once the Exilian ship was destroyed, Monster X does hold his head and definitely shows the signs that he was being mind controlled, and that now that he was free from this mind control, he was going to run everyone's fade. Yes, everyone's fade was getting ran that day. It did not matter to him. Somebody's fade was getting ran. Now, let's say if they do free him and then, he starts having this relapse of where now he sees that he was being controlled the entire time by the Exilian Empire. Now they have someone to help them basically free Earth from all the other monsters. However, I think this is going to go the following. Monster X gets free, and he assumes control of the other kaiju. Now, whether that's via his telepathy or his presence is going to be kind of left in the air. This means that Jack and the rest of the resistance or whatever actually now has a fighting chance here, and Monster X simply either leaves Earth or becomes even worse and decides to just eradicate everything and everyone. Now, judging by how this could go, I definitely see Monster X probably staying on Earth and rebuilding rebuilding humanity, especially if we go by this by a narrative story-wise, or the fact that the good guys have to always win kind of story, that he kind of stays on Earth, he helps humanity rebuild, and has the kaiju pretty much exterminate whatever's left of the Exilian Empire, and then the kaiju and him go to live on Monster Island, with him occasionally returning to help out and deal with any galactic threats that pretty much come along. So in all honesty, it's a 50-50, but it's very possible that if we stuck true to his character, that Monster X would become even worse and try to take over, if not destroy the Earth. But if we kept this from a narrative perspective, he turns on the Exilian Empire, exacts his revenge, apologizes, and helps rebuild Earth. But in all honesty, that's up to honestly how I would write the story. I would definitely probably have it the narrative way, because it's a much happier ending and a lot of possibilities open up. But be sure to comment down below, like and subscribe, and share with your friends. This is Legendary Grimlock, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.